Sentinels, they look great on Bind. I'm now joined by their head coach, Kaplan. Now, phenomenal defense. I don't think you can ask for a better one. But in your eyes, what was the key to the success of that defense half?
Yeah, we've been talking a lot lately. We're all bought into coming into these matches with plans to ante and punish the opponents. But we struggle sometimes with the micro, right? Sometimes we play too scared. We're not making little adjustments and switching things up and talking to each other enough. And the boys did an incredible job with that, right? Every freeze time, even if it's the same setup, change a little thing, add a little idea, middle of the round, push a little, all that stuff. They were just much more confident and creative today, and I love to see it.
We love to see it as well. Best of luck on map 2.
Sentinels picks up a win thanks to a flawless defensive side. Absolute magic from the boys over in the SEN camp here. And, you know, we were seeing glimpses of it early on when they were on the attacking side, what they were able to really begin to, like, muster up. And there were some great ideas, and they executed them incredibly well.
Yeah, rounds like this early on had me a little worried about Sentinel. As you see in this one, FPX inching out from showers, going for a walk down outside of hookah. They were super proactive in taking these forward plays, and in a lot of rounds, FPX was getting these first picks because of it. 8 out of 12 rounds, they started at an advantage. But after that, Sen started turning it around, finding some of these hard-hit rounds with the ultimates, and then a perfect second half to win it.
I think their game plan and overall understanding of how to beat this comp was good.
Yeah.
And it's exactly like Kaplan said. The micro was going wrong. It was the spacing and that kind of trading, and you can see their game plan was good just from their overall XX and as well how they were playing it, I think, on their flood defense. But in particular, I think that they really dominated in that particular aspect, but struggling on rounds where they didn't have the ults to get in, which is why you started to see that 8-4 beginning to the map. But it all came together. It all started clicking on the defense when they really started to flood in, make sure that they were synced up, no longer making the same mistakes where they were making sure that life could capitalize.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest issues of this FPX comp is it struggles to stall out plants, and I think they hit the nail on the head once Sentinels started to go for more of these hard execute rounds. There's not a lot of util you have to bait out in FPX's comp.
Basically
they started doing
a paranoia.
Yeah, and they did a great job of doing so. And on top of that, Zekken has had such a turnaround. I think that series versus Gen G to open up Champions was one of the worst series I've ever seen from this guy, but he's back to playing like the Zekken that won Madrid this time.
And you know what, too? Coach Kaplan was talking about the fact that he wanted, it was the micro, right? The little things that they could try and, like, use and do to get in there. And I think you were really starting to see that from Zekken. He was just taking more fights. He was being a little bit more proactive, getting involved a bit more. And I think that if they can continue to do that, that is exactly what we've come to respect with Sentinels, when they don't fear their opponent and they do go for those plays.
Yeah, and when they understand that they are some of the best players in the world and actually remember that fact as well. I think they were playing with confidence, but it was just the tiniest of things that were going wrong for them, where Life is a skilled enough player to put them down, Autumn's a skilled enough player to put them down. Every player on FPX was having individual moments where they were kind of punishing that Paul, just little moments where they're trying to punish an individual just stepping out into the space. But it came together at the end, and the fan reaction, I think, overall to Zekken was just calling for chops and changes to the roster, not just for Zekken as an individual, but after that first game, big overreaction. But the thing that I think I want the fans to understand is that Sentinels are so team-orientated, they're so team-pilled. They need to play together as a team, they need to have the right page and the right ideas, and because of that, individuals don't really shine unless the whole team is clicking. When the whole team clicks, that's when players individually are going to be empowered to move forwards, when they know players are at the back, the util's there to support them.
It's like if you were a Sentinels fan last year and you were watching their bad 2023 season where they also had Zekken on the roster, Zekken didn't look like a superstar player. But it's because they were calling him into a lot of hard hits where he wasn't set up for success. This Sentinels is setting him up for success, and when they play well, he plays great.
Yeah, and the Sentinels had an incredible turnaround. Once again, a flawless defensive side. You got to be happy about that. But now it's time to switch the script a little bit, go to our Hyperx reflex moment of the day. We decided to give this one to Life because this guy was just constantly on the kill feed with multi-kills non-stop. He actually was great in this map. He got, a little shut down toward the end there, but he had some awesome moments and moments just like this, Brent.
Yeah, and I think it highlights as well kind of the spacing being off for that. The initial half for Sen, you can see they kind of just lined up for him, but I don't want to take the credit away from Life because he played out of his mind this entire game. His individuals were on point, and it takes a lot of individual skill to be able to hit that second shot under the amount of pressure that you are, where you're being swung by 3 players. Senna dedicating that many players to try and shut that guy down, and he was still coming up with the goods and the damage.
Yeah, he really was. He really was. Well, now let's go ahead and hear over from Coach Nathan at the FPX camp to see what's going on with the squad going into map 2.
I'm now joined by Coach Nathan D from FPX and Luna to do some translations as well. Now, you guys looked really good against Team Heretics on Lotus earlier in this tournament, but we're talking about Sentinels here. You're going to have to face up against next. What are some of the differences you feel like Sentinels might have compared to Heretics on this map?
其实之前在跟 TH 打莲花古城这张图的时候发挥的很棒嘛，但是我们聊聊接下来要跟 Sentinels 打，那你觉得跟 TH 相比，他们会有什么不一样的地方吗？
他们不一样的地方可能是之前阵容不一样，然后但是我觉得他看 TH 把我们赢了，他可能也会拿回来个阵容，想尝试去赢我们，但我们也准备了不一样的东西给他们。
I think their difference is their comps, but if they think they saw as how we performed that good, well, when we faced against Team Heretics, might they will change their comps too. But we prepared something different for them, of course.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. Thank you very much, Coach Nathan and Luna as well. Let's see how they can do on map 2.
All right, well, let's go ahead and dive into what we should be expecting here. Map 2 is going to be Lotus. You got Sentinels starting on the defensive side here. And maybe can add on to that success that they had on Bind, right?
My big question, do they play the Deadlock comp again? And if they do, how does it look? Because I didn't think it looked terrible, but there were some gaps in it. In particular, their attacking side. They have this look on C where they're throwing the wall over and kind of blocking off waterfall. We saw rounds where they weren't clearing around that, leaving gaps in the setup where the fundamentals were slipping.
Hot take? You just won without Deadlock?
But I'm fine if they go back to it. I think Deadlock is good. I think it just comes down to implementation.
Implementation and how someone feels using that particular agent. They just picked up a big win here by switching things up. I don't know.
I'm pretty curious about FPX's comp as well. I'm trying to get a sneak preview of this one because they played their triple control. Not quite, not anymore. They're playing, okay, this is they're no duelist chamber. Double smokes, double initiator. Don't ask me to break this down in 10 seconds. I'm not going to be able to do it in terms of the pros and cons. You have a lot of util to try and take slow map control. Fight opting in. Sentinels are swapping their comp too. There's a lot to break down here.
So FPX, Autumn is going to be able to bait out a lot of these defensive aggro plays from Sentinels and be able to fight into A, things like that. Get opening picks. That's the name of the game for him, like it was on map 1. Autumn's very comfortable on this agent, and I think their retakes will probably also be solid with that double initiator. Sen, though, moving away from the Deadlock, they're playing default Fnatic comp. I think that's fine. That's comfortable. They played it before, and they've been great with it before.
And Kaplan did put an emphasis saying that we're focusing much more on anti-stratting. FPX have just moved away from their triple controller comp, which I think there was tons of exploitable elements with that composition. And now they move to this. So your preparation, out the window if you're Sen, you're going to be adapting on the fly.
If Sentinels was going to prove their fundamentals are back, this is the map to do it. Playing the basic comp against something weird. Let's see if they're ready.
Couldn't agree more, Mimi. Let's go ahead and see if this one can go to a third map. We're sending it back over to your casters, Doug and Baby Bay.
Thank you so much, GB. I think the big elephant that we've got to address in the room is that Sentinels have won a map for the first time in what feels like a really long time. It seems like they're going back to the fundamentals, the basics that Mimi was talking about on the desk.
Sen fans rejoice around the world for sure. But this comp from FPX, what are they cooking, Doug? This is some weird stuff we're about to see. I feel like they might be overcooking, even on the last map, changing their game plan and whatnot. Sometimes you just need to play what you're comfortable with, what you're used to. And FPX's triple controller comp, it's nothing like anything Sen have ever played against. Now this comp as well isn't like anything they've ever played against, but it's comfortability for Sen.
What a crunch. They send 3 down mound, they drop the paranoia, and they dump Fade utility into B.
Yeah, that's what promptly allows for the speed up of FPX. Oh, opting not to break the Killjoy turret. Probably break it after the smoke fades, but it's going to shoot him right here. I don't know about this right now.
It's
still up.
That pesky thing is still up.
I mean,
they got what they wanted. They got the spike down. Now they're in a 5v5 post plant.
The Sentinels have so much info once the smoke fades. I guess it's just going to be reoccurring smokes here.
Life still playing in it.
I mean, they know. Sen surely know that there's somebody close by.
They have to know. Well, he's dead now. John and Zekin getting a couple openers. Now they can turn their attention over towards Tree. The spike has been going off for a little bit, but it's all been so decisive. And look, they're going to crunch. Sasi trying to deal with the first, and unfortunately he cannot. Zekin gets in on it, though, with the Sheriff in hand. John's going to stick the defuse all the way, and there's nothing that can stop him. Sentinels get the pistol.
I hate to be a harbinger of bad news and whatnot, but Life not breaking that turret for that entirety is just so bad for what FPX were trying to accomplish in that round. Even if you're trying to play in that smoke and try to finesse around and kill stairs, you want that broken because when the smokes fade, it's going to shoot at you no matter where you're at on site. And that's free info the entire round for Sen. But right now, Zellsis he's just calming to his team. Yo, turrets up still. Turrets up still. Wait for the smokes to fade. He'll have a full line on site. It's a disaster of a mistake. But it's not over yet. It's going to be an A default. Zekken needs to get out of dodge quickly. And it's Berlin on the breach who's the forefront. I mean, you can't prep for that.
Again, another spam kill. As Berlin waltzes into his death as well.
Sen have got to be one of the scariest teams to play when they are feeling it. Whoa. Autumn's so good at chamber. I guess this is why they decided to just slap him on it on this map. Spike should get planted because of that entry.
Ion committing to it. Now going to be 2 pips away from having his ult online.
Yeah. And he's got 3 more in the chamber right now. Autumn might be able to finesse this round. He gets caught lacking. Saucy going absolutely nuclear right now in the back of sight. Cleans it up. Ion couldn't do anything, and Zekken is going to defuse the spike. He's getting closer to that showstopper, and another strong start continuing from that last half they had.
Yeah, I think, you know, it was funny as we were watching some of that play out, it felt a little reminiscent to how Sentinels looked on the first half of Bind.
Yeah.
Where it just felt like, and again, yes, it was Nico, I understand all that, but the way that they approach some of these swings, the way they're approaching some of these fights felt very much like what Sentinels looked like in the first half of Bind.
I agree. But Tenz is on a Bucky right now.
Bucky light armor. The investment isn't huge here. Yeah. A Vandal and a Bulldog, but as far as big guns go, that's it.
He did give his rifle to Zekken, understanding that if he gets, you know, a kill after grabbing that orb, he will have the showstopper online. Is Autumn going to be ready for this? This is so hard to clear.
Autumn's been good. Swing, man.
It's got to be a 1 pump. There it is.
Well, they could deal with the anticipation any longer. Look at all of this Killjoy utility set up towards C.
Yeah, and look at all the space that Tenz got after getting that kill. He has all of A. Look at how many members of Sentinels are here.
The Thrash now invested. A little bit of space found. Zellsis will get caught. There's not enough help that'll save you there. Lysar now getting a little bit of high ground repositioning, though. The spike not committed yet. Tenz is starting to rotate over. Doesn't have a paranoia. Tap of the door. It's all just a threat.
Yeah, all just fake, faint pressure right now. He's going to wrap all the way around as well. There's no trips up. He might catch these players lacking.
Ayang is ready for it.
Oh, he sees a barrel in the main.
Not able to land the first shots. And remember, there is more than just this threat here. It's more than just Berlin. Can the rest of Sentinels take space on the site? Well, all of this is happening out towards Mound. If Tenz can buy some time, if he continue to be eye candy, there's a shot at this. But FPX manage every single threat so well. Second dance to the Thrash. Zekken's left alone in a 1v3. Berlin's weak, but that spike has been going off for a little while. I don't know if there's enough time for this.
Oh, there's none at all. Zekken, he hit some nice shots on that exit right there. He's definitely feeling himself. That's why Tenz dropped him the rifle. But the reaction from FPX, that was a great Thrash from Ayang. Wrapping all the way around, and Berlin with a supporting utility there. Very good stuff, yeah. I mean, what can you do?
You can only smile there.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about how well FPX handled this situation right here. They knew that Tenz was on the flank. They knew they were going to have to deal with some of the pressure, with some of everything that was being thrown their way, and to be able to effectively parse all of that info out in the chaotic moment is really difficult to do.
Yeah, and Lysor, who had a really rough map. Ooh, nice pick from Autumn. Wait, he's not stopping. They're not stopping life with the follow-up.
Tenz is here by himself. Now John QT is joining the fray, but Tenz peppered, finally put down. And yeah, sure, FPX has a couple of weak members as well, but...
What an A fight.
Yeah.
That's with no duelist on top of it. I mean, it's almost impossible to get out of that choke.
You wouldn't know it.
But the power of Chambers, you're able to take that quick peek. I mean, we saw how good, I believe it was Foxy9 against Fnatic. I mean, he was dominating around A. And that was against utility as well. Autumn still getting value, just getting bombarded. But to my point, what I wanted to talk about was Lysor in the previous round. He was rough on the last map. But when he's on point for this team of FPX, they just dominate team. So he had the schmooze on C-Site in the previous round. This time around, he's sitting at 8 HP, but that paranoia got some value. And it's going to be a full save right now from the side of SEN. And now you got to think, you know, how are you going to approach this A fight? Because you just gave it your all.
You can take a look at it again. I mean, Zekin tried getting an aggressive angle, but
yeah, the follow-up fight was just too much.
Again, you wouldn't believe that they didn't have a duelist in that situation.
Yeah, it really felt like Autumn took the fastest timing. It's the power of Chamber on this map, and I think a lot of teams like are a little wary of playing Chamber. They think it's like, you know, not as good as, you know, Cypher or Killjoy, and to be fair, they could be true, but it doesn't mean that Chamber is a bad pick on this map whatsoever.
Sure.
We've seen a lot of teams make it work, most notably T1. Saw Saya player on that, and he made it look really, really good. So if you have a good game plan with this Chamber, it could really do a lot of damage.
And you know what's crazy is I think we're going to see most of the heavy part of a good game plan there when it gets to their defensive side. So if you're already seeing some of the value on attack, I mean, we'll see what the rest of this map has in store for us. No ults up on the side of the attack. But again, we're going to see this A fight. And I get it, neither team willing to relent on this area of the map. Full dump at util. Oh. He's so dead. He had nowhere to go there. He was lit up.
Yeah.
And then obliterated.
From the top. Zekin went on that double box around that Viper wall that you see on the mini-map and just was able to elevate so far in the air. But it's interesting. Sentinels are using their, you know, their nade tether combo to try to catch out Lysor, but he's not actually TPing across. So that gives Autumn an opportunity to just swing out main for free and TP out after he takes his shot. I wonder if Sen are going to mix it up in the future rounds and try to punish Autumn. Try to get some chip damage on him. Make sure he can't take a pop shot or anything like that. It's going to be an A reclear, though, on the side of FPX, Lysor. He's not sitting too healthy, 30 HP to his name.
And Tenz is in such a good spot. Zekin smoked off, but you're still going to have to do a Tenz.
It's too easy.
Falling. And now Saucy has arrived.
It just looked too easy right there.
30 seconds left.
And that, I'm honestly, that was still a pretty strong position from FPX, all things considered. That was a 5v4. It wasn't like they were super down in numbers and they were heavily outgunned.
They just didn't peak together. Berlin way too far ahead of his squad. Something that you see him do quite often. He's a maniac on this team, honestly.
And we saw it a couple of times on Bind. We see it here as well.
Yeah, he's kind of like Kerrigan-esque, where he'll be the entry as the IGL, and then once he's down, he can do like his mid-rounding. But when you're already down a player, it's too much of an ask. Tenz, he's starting to heat up now too. You give this team confidence, or the individual players on this team confidence, any one of them can take over the game.
We see that second kill.
Yeah, that's the top rope right there.
Yeah, off the ult.
Beautiful. Crosshair placement of Tenz in this moment was so good. I mean,
well, and that's the swing you were talking about. Berlin was just so far ahead of everything else.
Yeah,
not in a position to trade yourself. And again, I want to go back to the first half that we saw of Sentinels on Bind, because you mentioned it. Spacing was an issue. And if the spacing is not in a position where you can trade out, when you're down in numbers like that too, the trading has to be on point, because it's only going to go from bad to worse if you can't equalize in fights like that.
Yeah, and oftentimes when you swing together, sometimes players get overwhelmed and they don't know which target to choose from, and you might even just get the kill clean, and all of a sudden it's a 4v4. I mean, when you're going against Tenz, probably not likely, but there's still a chance, right? At least get the trade. And that's why you see this timeout coming out from FPX. Coach has got to be telling them, guys, chill out. Start playing as a team more. Stop trying to go for these crazy plays. Remember what got us here.
Yeah, it does feel, man.
It's a very early timeout.
It is. I don't want to say desperate. But again, some of the swings felt a little bit like they were just throwing lives away. It almost felt like we were watching an eco round where Sentinels had full rifles and they were just in classics and like, all right, let's kind of move on into the next.
And it was anything but that, right? Tenz
Right?
had a Bulldog. If you peek somebody together against a Bulldog, I swear 9 times out of 10 he can't connect on both.
Right,
You must have to line up perfectly.
We'll see what adjustments come out on the other side of this timeout. I think on the side of Sentinels, you're seeing some of the adjustments. We've talked about this dump of utility towards A main these last couple of rounds, and this time it's been anything but.
Yeah, they changed their game plan. They were anticipating a front B walk. That's why you saw Zekin and John QT posted up right there. But the problem with how FPX are taking this approach on the attacking side is they're just 5-manning everything right now. So while all this A control is happening, Zellsis is just jiggling C for free. You look at the minimap, and he has all the info. So that's why there's 3 players geared up of Sentinels towards A site.
Yeah, they're really not playing the map at all. And given the fact that we're talking about Lotus, it's a 3-site map, you would think that's what you're going to want to lean into more than even on other maps.
And especially when you don't have a duelist.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you want to go for this A execute, who's going to close the gap?
Well, 2 bits of util, but they're pretty early off of that. You've got the Nightfall and the Paranoia and Tenz and Saucy holding the line, but Berlin on the counterpunch, cleaning up a couple of his own. Maybe a little bit of room to breathe here for the attack.
30 seconds left.
Right now, Autumn needs to drop that spike to Berlin, have him plant while he covers for free. Right now, there's no smokes on the field for Sentinels, right? That orb isn't anywhere near A site.
Yeah.
So this could be a really good post-plant opportunity. The time is running down low here. And Zekin still has that nade. I mean, he might be able to delay this. This nade is going to be perfect. The cleanup on John as well.
Autumn's now been left on his own with an op in hand trying to Rambo his way through it, and he just can't.
No, and now that's an operator if Sentinels want it.
And they have. Yeah, they've picked it up. This feels very uncharacteristic of the FPX that I think people saw in Shanghai. The same team that took maps off of the 2 finalists in Shanghai, the team that looked much stronger leading into Seoul, and then the team that we've seen here as well.
And this is the problem of when you're trying to anti-strat teams with compositions and whatnot. It's not like FPX aren't good at the triple controller comp that they run, but I think they just put too much stock into maybe Sentinels counter-stratting them, and they wanted to mix things up. Now, all of a sudden, the FPX players are uncomfortable. You start making hero plays.
Or trying
to make hero plays, and you're getting punished for it by a team of Sentinels who now have gone back to their comfortability and are just playing the fundamental game of Lotus.
There's that op that you mentioned from the previous round, now in the hands of Zekin, who's holding down B-Long.
And you have an Odin as well on the other side.
Yeah.
Seeing how deadly the Odin could be.
There are no good options here. Fortunately for FPX, the eye gets cleared out, so there's no way to get secure spam damage. They're going to rotate away, and if they rotate away back C, again, there's no good option. Either you deal with the op that's down B, you deal with the spam from Saucy A, or you deal with the, every single bit of KJ utility.
Yeah, literally.
C, unless
no.
Autumn can deal with them. But, I mean, Zellsis, even his positioning is really nice. He's not giving away an angle. He's not giving a fight.
And it's the double layers. He doesn't need to peek anything here. Oh, that's a really good breach. C right there. Doesn't get the turret still, though, so still info. Gained right now for Zellsis, and he's just going to play backside right now. Ooh, that flash connect.
Tenz has his ult if he wants to rotate over very quickly, or John can just mow him over. There it is, the ult invested, and he arrives to see Zellsis holding the line on C. Another dominant round for Sentinels.
Yeah, Zellsis played that so well. Full layered utility there. It's all because FPX was on a bad buy. They had that B line from the start of the round. If Zekin gets overwhelmed, he can satchel out. So he doesn't need any extra utility to support him there. And then John is able to flood in. It's beautiful play.
And even the little things like Zellsis seeing that the breach util was coming through and instantly realizes, oh, I've got to pop the nanos. And even if he's not getting damage, he's buying time.
Yeah, he delays.
Yeah. So those little decisions like that proving to be fruitful. Sentinels up 3 rounds. They've dropped a pit towards C.
Ooh, operator almost connected on Tenz right there.
They continue to invest into this weapon.
If you're running a chamber, you kind of feel like you have to.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose you're right. If you really want to lean into the strengths of the agent.
It's just so hard for FPX to bust through any of these sites. You have no Raze, you have no Jet to get away from that Killjoy utility or the Viper Molly or even the Omen Flash. Every piece of util will connect if you're Sentinels.
It almost feels like you're trying to play this attack half with a hand tied behind your back.
Yeah, it's a handicap. Playing the game on hard mode.
They might try to NB here. They've got a smoke. That's, well, forget the smoke.
It's round over. 30 seconds left.
And they don't have money. You're right. They have to save here.
Oh, wait.
They might try to go for this. 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
Berlin will fall. They're going to try to get out towards tree, but Tenz is here. Playing just up on the other side of this smoke. I guess they're going to wait for it to go down and then trust the numbers that they have. There it is. What a beautiful reposition up from Tenz. A flawless round from Sentinels. The stomp continues.
Yeah, setup to the round was great. Then the finish of the round was even greater. Zellsis was supporting John in that Viper's pit. Alarm bot was ahead of everything. Gives you security if you're John playing in that pit alone. You're able to cheat a little bit back, and then you get the collat front B. Yeah, FPX, they got to burn that second timeout. This is getting out of hand and getting out of hand very fast. This comp change, I get it. You showed a lot of rounds against Heretics. I understand. You want to switch it up. You want to catch SEN off guard. Sometimes you just got to play your own game to win, and now you're stuck in this spot, and what can you do?
And then remember, I've got to mention the stakes here because that's not something we've talked about a ton, to be honest. This is elimination.
Yeah.
This is the end of the year for you. I mean, it's a long offseason, and it feels like an even longer offseason when you've got how the loss went through ruminating in your mind for months.
Yeah. Especially with that close series they had against Heretics.
It's a tough spot to be in.
It's nuts.
The thing about situations like this, though, is if the team is capable of making adjustments, they'll do it, and they'll have to do it here. FPX down 4 rounds, running this different no-duelist comp on Lotus, where they aren't really playing the map as well as you would think, or playing it to its full degree as you would expect, given the comp. But perhaps the second timeout is what brings fruit.
Any type of saving grace. Maybe this hero buy on Ayong. Maybe if they can get an entry, you can commit some of the ultimates.
And yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see if they can do anything about it here.
It's going to be very hard. It's an uphill battle, to say the least. But Autumn does have 8 bullets of the Headhunter, and we've seen how crisp he is with that. So they just need an entry. They need some type of first blood. But I think an Operator versus a Chamber Headhunter, I think the Op wins that.
That should.
We'll see when this smoke fades.
That's the other thing, as we think about some of the adjustments that have played out in this map. Think about, there's the Op winning.
Yep.
By the way. You think about how hell-bent Sentinels were in controlling A main at the beginning of the rounds with the dumpy utility, and it feels like the night and day difference has been so clear.
Well, I think they realized that they could just play in the back of sight because there's no duelist.
Exactly. They don't have to take these fights. They can play ahead of it. You see both Omen's trying to TP ahead of the utility, and Tenz is getting the best of Lysor. Sasi on the swing. He's going to find another. Not able to connect onto the third, but now 4v2. Make that a 4v1. Life with the Singer cannot connect.
It's unreal. I'm pretty sure Tenz did that Omen thing where you could TP past the breach ult and finesse it.
I think he did as well.
And that's why it was full support right there. It's unreal, yeah, the state of gameplay Sen is showing right now.
Hopefully we get that on the replay. There's that off kill that you mentioned.
I mean,
a really nice flick.
I mean, Autumn tried. He hit him, but it just wasn't a headshot. You got to connect like that. And Zekin, he's feeling it right now with the Operator. I haven't seen him shoot like this with the Op in a while. I mean, over a month.
And honestly, all signs are good when Zekin is smiling if you're a Sentinels fan.
And another new look right here, right? Aggressive tether. This time pushing Autumn all the way back. They understand that Autumn could purchase an Operator, and he's taken that peek almost every single round. So instead of tethering to hit the Omen of Lysor, they get the TP out. And it's Zekin on an off angle here at C2. I mean, he's been so mobile with the operator. He showed front B a bunch. Last round he was A. Now he's C. Are FPX going to read into that? Right there. And even if they do, can they do anything about it?
Yeah. I mean, that's half the battle. I feel like the adjustments that Sentinels have made have been really nice, but maybe FPX can find a little bit of room here towards C, perhaps. I mean, Zekin is still here with the op. John is close by. They're just not giving them these fights anymore. That feels like the biggest difference. Now John was on the swing. He's going to get punished for it. Zekin manages to find safe passage with op in hand. A second dip in. Boom. I thought he was going to hit him, and that would have been devastating. The nade's not going to feel good. The pit invested. He's got to stay alive here.
Yeah, but they're all stuck. They're all corralled here. Oh, just now we see Life taking more aggressive space in CT.
What do they have to pound? Zekin has his Roomba. And Tenz has full utility, but an op trying to get into a pit in a situation like that, it's all hands on Zekin, and he just cannot. I mean, a random bullet connecting. And FPX alleviates some of this pressure, finally finding a round.
Finally finding an answer. And the answer so far in this half has been Thrash. It's been Ayoung on C site using that. Last time they were able to accumulate 2 rounds from it. Let's see if they can get another one and slowly bring this back, slowly give themselves a chance into the mix. But it's been baiting out C utility and then going with the second layer. Yeah, you're not running a duelist, so you have to play this way. You have to bait out the stuff that can stuff you in the chokes and then re-hit.
Back to the old tried and true. You've got the suck, you've got the nade. And now Zekin's fishing for more. That rocket's not going to connect.
It doesn't connect, but it's all space gathered. And again, Zellsis is just jiggling C. He's rarely gotten a fight here. At every single time he's been jiggling like this, Sen have known that they end A.
Zekin might be in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah,
he has one
satchel.
satchel.
Very careful here.
Slight little sidestep. It's him against the world right now.
That's another nade.
That nade is really nice, but he's got nowhere to go. Plucked out of the sky. I thought he was going to find safety.
Almost.
But Life puts him down, and now tap of the door as they turn their attention towards A. Meanwhile, Zellsis still jiggling that angle. Sasi's got his ult online. And it's going to connect onto what, 2?
He gets a lot of info with that and is able to reposition onto site.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of time left in the round.
Yeah, there is, but there's no movement from the side of FPX. They're still deciding to end here, and Life just gets taken out for free. It's a freebie.
So A doesn't work for a couple of tries.
30 seconds left.
And I guess maybe they think they can find some better fortune towards B. Yeah, but look at Zellsis positioning.
Positioned so well, exactly. The turret's going to... Oh, wait, what's going on right now? Must be a glitch.
Oh, I think it's just out of the cone. Just out of the cone.
But he still gets info regardless here. And a ping. Maybe they know. They understand he might be front B.
It seems like they do.
Oh,
Zellsis buying his time. Sasi joins him for the kill. And that's another one for Sentinels. That's also, very quickly, as we think about turning our attention towards the last round of the half, Zellsis will be 1 point away from having his ult.
And I wonder if you're going to see, like, maybe an A setup this time from Zellsis. Or maybe he's just going to stay C and just jiggle infinitely again. But if they do decide to put him towards A with some supporting cast, maybe he can grab the orb. But honestly, they don't really need to push anything right now.
They really don't.
The way that Sen have been winning a lot of these rounds have just been letting the game come to them.
Right.
And that's what you want to do when you're not playing against a duelist. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And again, that's the big adjustment that we saw from the first couple of rounds. And so it seems like Zellsis will go back to his C setup. The turret B and a little bit more aggression towards A. This feels almost identical to what we saw in the previous round.
It just feels like FPX have just run into a wall. And they want to make this A fight work so badly. It's just not working for them.
I mean, they just dropped a Paranoia all the way out towards Broken Door.
With a one-way as well. Oh, Zellsis gets an orb off of that!
He's going to have his ult. There it is. There's really no way to clear it out either.
And this is so awkward right now for FPX. That ultimate, it's so unconventional.
Sasi with a big fight here. If Life gives him the swing, and now he certainly won't. Now with the threat of that on the other side of the wall.
Oh my gosh, it's so scary if you're Life right now.
There's smoke on the other side. I mean, look at his position. There's literally no room to breathe. Lysor and Autumn, the only two that remain. in a 2v4. Zekken's going to be the first to try to get onto the tap. Lysor falls. Zekken's going to stick it the whole way. No resistance. A 9-3 dominant half out for Sentinels.
Yo, this Sentinels is fired up. They're back in form, Doug.
I just don't really know. Yeah, this comp, whatever it is, it's all going the way of Sentinels right now. A ridiculous half to get us to halftime. We'll see if the second half provides any sort of hope for FPX fans, because this very well may be it.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Elimination is on the line for one of these two squads, and hopes coming into this tournament could not have been higher. Again, FPX seemed like they were competing to be the kings of China. They were pushing EDG to the limit. They were getting the best of all of the other teams that are here, and Sentinels were 0-6. They had lost against G2, they lost against 100 Thieves, they lost against Gen G. It seemed like there was no success to be found for them, and I mean, this is an entirely different situation, Dre.
And honestly, on top of that, FPX had such a great performance against Heretics. They could have won it. You could argue that they could have won it. 2 of the maps that Heretics won went to OT, and then Heretics made it out of the group. I mean, like, you're thinking that, yeah, they could do this. And they're going to have to do this right here, right now. This comp, it needs to be phenomenal on this defense. We're going to have to see a lot of value from the Chamber.
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like the Chamber's even going to be tested this round. He is taking a little bit of space, though.
An early A fight, and just utility being thrown.
Berlin's by himself here. One spotted. He may be overstaying his welcome. I mean, there's no way you stand to that. They're so decisive on this hit. As soon as the shoulder was spotted, Zekken was satcheling into his face.
And he's already here, close and personal. He can't connect, though.
Really nice shots out from Life.
Last player standing.
And it's leaving Zellsis on his own.
Swarm grenade out.
He's got light armor. And the spike was planted through all that. He's got lineups, bro.
And he's going to... No way he's going to flank all the way around. This Molly will buy enough time for it. But he needs to be very careful here. I just don't think it's a very interesting play. Oh, the tap. It might work in his favor.
It's going to buy a little bit of time. Now Lysor has gotten it to half. Autumn has been spotted, not able to connect the shots. He's got to spam into the smoke, and he can't connect.
Wow.
The pistol goes the way of FPX.
Yeah. Life, honestly, he actually brought Life back into FPX in that pistol round, getting 2 in Broken Door. And he's sitting at the top.
Take a look at it again. It seemed done. Yeah, honestly.
I really thought with the reposition from Zekken, I thought it was going to be done. I thought he was feeling it, but the wide swing from Ayung, he broke the crosshair of Zekken. Zekken couldn't connect. And Life, he stepped up big right there. So they're slowly going to crawl their way back into this. They need to win this round flawlessly. Maybe dropping your weaker weapons. That's it.
Zekken's got a shorty.
Ooh.
And 2 satchels.
Okay.
I didn't think they'd commit onto it there.
All right.
Doing a really good job of weathering some of this pressure.
He's so cold under pressure. You're 100% correct.
And they're going to continue to push him, or at least attempt to. As Life gets another on the round. The remaining members of Sentinels trying to do their very best to stay up, but Autumn gets 4.
And he's going to get that spike as well, so he's building up towards that ultimate. Double op if he wants. And I said it, they need to win it flawlessly. They did just that.
Well, and I think you could argue that they got even more than that. Again, given how things played out for Autumn, given that he was able to get, 4 kills on the round, and then get a little bit closer to having the ult online.
A real big chance here to snowball this game and bring it back within grasp.
Well, and that's the thing you were talking about, is when you know that there's a chamber on the other side, you want to try to flush him out. You want to try to get to him as aggressively as possible and force him into an uncomfortable situation. Unfortunately for Sentinels there, Autumn just was able to handle it.
He's so good in those moments. It's very impressive.
Well, Spam not finding a kill.
That was a very risky play.
Berlin's getting a little cheeky here as well.
It's just individual heroics that are trying to happen, but this version of Sentinels, with the way that they're playing, it's together. They're playing as a unit. It's going to be very hard, especially if you don't have an escape. I could see if it's Autumn, because he can TP out.
Sure, but your Breach doesn't have that same level
Viper,
of mobility.
Or Viper, It's tough to get out of dodge.
So they do have a couple of weapons here. They're going to attempt, or at least, I don't even know that Autumn can really get in. He's been tagged, he's been spotted, he's been dealt with.
Oh my goodness.
Another kill through smokes. Sentinels will get to 10, and yes, that was their bonus, sure. But now, this is where things begin. This is where the rounds, or the half starts, excuse me.
Get a replay of that. Punish from Zekin. Yeah, Life just sticking around for way too long.
And then Berlin doing a bit of the same.
Yeah, I don't think he was aware of how exposed he was to that angle. Didn't expect Zekin to peek at the timing that he did. And Zekin's having a hell of a map right now. Him and Tenz are just going tit for tat. Who's going to be at the top of this game? It's like they're competing with one another. But Autumn gets really far ahead of that.
That's why the duo was put together. This is what was imagined when these two got put together. Zekin popping the ult, clearing so much space towards C. Look at how far back Berlin has had to run away.
It's a free spike planet as well. There is a lot of utility, though, for this retake. Saucy is sitting on that Fade ultimate, though. This could be very deadly to the side of FPX. And the Q is just going to be the Killjoy utility.
Yeah, it's such an aggressive alarm bot.
Look at these mollies. There's 2 mollies pre-placed. This is a crazy post plant from Sentinels.
The paranoia is out. There's the first. The molly pop. The alarm bot's going to get some info. FPX haven't really gained very much space other than what they already had. Lysor's the only one who's now further up. With a little bit of help, Berlin's able to get the best of Zellsis. Keep an eye on what members are still back towards Mound. You've got Second who's running amok on the site. Berlin's almost getting the defuse. Gets it to half, but now, oh my gosh! What in the world was that? Oh, but it wasn't enough! Just when it seemed like things were gonna fall the way of FPX, time expires, and Sentinels get to 11.
It was all that post-plant utility off of the showstopper from Zekin. Yeah, he gathered all that space. Everyone was so scared and just not in reach from the side of FPX that it bought so much time. Saucy has that Fade ultimate. Somehow Zellsis has 2 mollies on site with an alarm bot that's aggressive. There's too much stall, too much delay.
Oh, that's tragic. That was not, oh.
That must have been on purpose, sure.
No, I don't. They just did her dirty. Right, into the next we go. Sentinels 2 rounds away from staying alive in this tournament. Autumn getting the best of Zekin.
That's a big, big entry. But now Sen have the info of where the chamber is.
And what they don't know is what's threatening them towards C. They had 3 members up towards Mound.
Utility was used, so Zellsis did hear that. That's why he's slowly re-clearing it, understanding that with the tap of the door at A and the tap of the door at C, there was a rotation off of C Mound. That's why you see this heavy lean of Sentinels going back towards C. The IGLing, the mid-rounding right now is very good. It's a flow state that John has hit.
Remember, the only real gun in this situation is Autumn's ult, and he's still back towards A.
I wonder if FPX decide to commit the Thrash into this round, even with the gun disadvantage. It kind of feels like you have to in a way.
A Hail Mary here?
I mean, but like if you don't and you lose the round,
yeah, then what?
It's match point for Sen. For what?
Right, what are you saving it for, the next year?
Yeah.
Sure. It seems like, given all the noise the Sentinels have shown, given the spams towards B, the smokes that went up, it gave FPX a little bit of time to adjust and to rotate over, but they may need more than that.
Rough.
I mean, they definitely need more than that. Shot settled for Tenz. That's 3 on the round for him.
It's just the training range.
Tries to duck, but Berlin finally cleans him up. Autumn and Berlin, the only 2 that remain. And Autumn is so concerned about a late flank coming in from B, and for good reason. Zellsis spamming onto the first. There's really no way in. This is such a heartbreaking way for things to close out for FPX.
Yeah, Life definitely should have had that kill onto Tenz. And Tenz ended up getting 3 more because of it. Or 2 more, I should say. Just feeling an immense amount of pressure. They're crumbling in it, Doug. They're crumbling in it.
At the worst possible time.
And Life's had a great map, honestly. He was the only saving grace on that other half, on the other side.
Yeah.
But that whiff,
that one hurts.
That's tough. It just kind of feels like there's nothing you can do right now if you're FPX.
Meanwhile, it's still all smiles for the red and black.
And who's going to be the one on top? Tenz or Zekin?
Potential last round of FPX's year. Coming in to the biggest tournament as the #2 seed from China. The Rolling Thunder causing so much havoc. There's no crunch coming in from the other side, but it might not matter as Ion's able to get 2. They've lost control of the spike. Sentinels have been thrown asunder, but Tenz has his ult. Able to scoop that thing up, and now it's a mad dash towards A. A mad dash towards Autumn with the op. Does the Viper wall go back up? Does John have enough gas? There it is, now coming back.
A lack of communication on FPX. They should have told Autumn that the Omen ultimate was committed to grab the spike, but he was worried the whole time that he was getting flanked.
Autumn not able to find the first shot. You mentioned how good he's been under pressure, and there's all of it building up to him now, and he crumbles underneath it. Tenz committing to getting the spike down. The Thrash invested. Ion trying to find anything that he can. They've got a numbers advantage here. Can they convert this into a round win? Can they keep their year alive? Utility over the spike as FPX now pushing their way forward. Zellsis holding line, only able to find 1 though. As Tenz on the spam, connecting onto the second with John QT over his shoulder. A 2v2. Spike ticking away, time is short. Can John do it on his own? He's gotten it down to 1. The spam, pre-connecting, and it will be the Red Bull clutch for John QT. Sen City stays alive as they take down FPX.
What a comeback from Sen. Being down 8-4 on Bind. Having a flawless defensive side. Full teamwork in effect. And then to win this map the way that they did. What a clutch at the end of things. The Odin, it's too good in the post plant. You hold mouse 1 wherever the plant is, wherever the spike is planted. And Zekin, 6 first bloods on that last map.
And so the final bow we will see FPX take this year. Again, a team that came into this tournament with a lot of hopes, with a lot of aspirations, a team that seemed to have figured out their struggles while still seemingly so strong on what got them to this point. But they just fall apart in front of Sen City, and there's a lot of reason to be excited. And I want to mention John QT there because, honestly, in my opinion, when Sentinels have looked their best, it's when John is fragging as well. Because you know what you're going to get from Zekin, you know what you're going to get from Tenz. I mean, you know all the other pieces are going to deliver.
Yeah.
But when they've been at their best is when John is not just calling an immaculate game, but fragging on top of it.
Yeah.
And we saw hints of that today.
And also when he's doing it on Viper and Cypher and these roles that we know him to play. Not the deadlock. Yeah, and it works. It works sometimes. I get it. But his bread and butter are those 2 agents. And the way that they're able to play with the double controller comps, they look so much better.
It seems like today was all about going back to bread and butter.
Yep.
For Sentinels, they got rid of their deadlock comps. We didn't see them bust that out at all today. And I don't want to say Reddit was right, but maybe Reddit was right, right? They've moved away from some of that stuff, and they just seem a lot more comfortable, Trey.
And now, you gotta think about the timing of how they're coming together right now. They're going up against who? Genji, my brother. That is gonna be an insane match, a rematch, bad blood, ever since Madrid.
Yeah, it's gonna be a banger. And I think there's still plenty of time for Sentinels to think through what worked today, and honestly, some of the things that kind of got away from them. I want to go back to that first half of Bind. It wasn't pretty, but they're able to pull it off. Sentinels stay alive. We've got Tenz standing by on the stage for the Verizon post-match interview.
And welcome to the post-match interview where I have Tenz on standby, of course, with this blobfish. 센티넬의 텐즈 선수 만나보겠습니다. 승리 축하드립니다. 정말 오랜만에 맛보는 챔피언스 승리일 것 같아요. 좀 개인적으로 감회가 남다를 것 같은데 지금 기분이 어떤지부터 먼저 물어봐야겠죠. Congratulations, Tenz. I mean, your return to Champions, right? It's been a while. You have a win under your belt. Did you miss this feeling?
Honestly, it's been great. Crowd's been amazing. Just the atmosphere of Champions is unreal. So overall, it's been a really pleasant experience.
챔피언스 분위기도 너무 좋고 팬분들께서도 또 열심히 응원을 해주셔서 너무너무 좋은 경험이고 또 너무너무 좋은 시간을 보내고 있다고 얘기를 합니다. 오늘 경기 전반적으로 바인드 전반전만 힘들었던 것 같은데 좀 경기를 쭉 보면 욕탕 대신에 좀 A숏을 위주로 공격을 전개하는 모습도 보였거든요. 뭔가 FPX 위주로 준비해온 전략이었는지도 물어보도록 할게요. So I feel like the only hiccup along the way today was the first half on Bind. We see you guys prioritizing A short a lot more than the showers control. Was this prepped specifically against FPX?
So looking at FPX's comp on binds, the ideology was we could just slam through short because there was not that much util to stop us. Unfortunately, they were hitting shots, breaking our util, so it wasn't going according to plan, but it was talked through beforehand.
Yeah, course corrected too, right? 일단은 FPX의 조합을 보니까 A숏을 때리는 게 훨씬 더 좋을 거라고 판단했던 이유가 FPX 사이드에서는 좀 그 러쉬 같은 걸 막을 수 있는 스킬이 별로 없었기 때문에 훨씬 좋겠다라고 판단을 했는데 FPX가 굉장히 많이 좀 총을 잘 쏘는 날이었기 때문에 힘들기는 했지만 그래도 이런 식으로 좀 대처하자, 좀 A숏 위주로 공격을 풀어나가자라고 얘기를 했다고 합니다. 그러면 또 텐즈 선수 개인적으로는 이번 대회에서 트루 스트레치를 쓰는 몇 안 되는 선수 중 한 명이거든요. 이게 보면은 적이 더 커서 맞추기는 쉽다는 장점은 있지만 그래도 적의 이속도 빨라 보인다는 단점이 있는데 좀 팬들에게 추천하는지 개인적으로 어떻게 느끼고 있는지 물어보도록 할게요. Now, you are one of the few players in Champs that use true stretch, right? It makes the enemies appear bigger but also faster as well. Would you recommend?
I think it's personal preference. Really depends on the player. I mean, I wear glasses, I'm a little bit blind, so it helps me out.
선수에 따라 다르겠지만 개인적으로 뭐 안경을 쓰면서 시력이 좋지 않기 때문에 이렇게 트루 스트레치를 하면 좀 더 잘 보이고 개인적으로는 도움이 되는 것 같다고 얘기를 하는데요. 마지막으로 이제 다시 젠지를 만나게 됐습니다. 젠지 선수들이 첫 번째 경기 이후에 센티널스가 좀 적응의 시간이 필요한 것 같고 적응이 끝나면 훨씬 더 좋은 모습을 보여줄 것 같다고 얘기를 했는데 또 텐즈 선수도 동의하는지 그리고 젠지와의 리매치 이번에는 어떤 경기 예상하는지도 물어보도록 하겠습니다. So it's gonna be a rematch against Genji once more, and the Genji players after the last match actually said Sentinels just need more time to adapt and adjust to the new environment. They will surely bounce back. So do you think that's the case for you guys? And also, what's the rematch going to look like?
I mean, it's been a while since we won a series, so hopefully we show a better form than what we showed against Genji the first time. I mean, if history repeats itself, then
승리한 지 얼마 되지 않았는데 확실히 더 젠지를 다음번에 만나면 좋은 폼을 보여줄 것 같고 또 역사는 다시 한번 좀 반복되지 않을까라는 생각을 한다고 얘기를 했습니다. 여기까지 텐즈 선수 만나봤습니다.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tenz. And also Blobfish for the post-match interview. And goodbye, everyone.